Good. Good. Okay, at this time, we have cornerbacks coach Rod West. Questions for Coach West?
So, Rod, start with what was attractive to you about West Virginia?
Well, like I said, first off, the tradition, understanding that West Virginia has won a lot of football games, won at the highest level, and everything's in place here to get it done again. Get a chance to work for a guy like Coach Rodriguez, who I think I saw he was number 7 amongst active coaches in all-time wins. So obviously can learn a lot from him. He knows what he's talking about, a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. So being able to pull from him, I've known Coach Alley for a while, bright young defensive mind, and just a chance to be able to work with him. And like I said, the fan base here, like I said, everything you need to win: fan base, tradition, great coaching staff, and I think we have talent too, and a chance to be in a Power 4 conference. So it was very appealing, and I'm happy we're here.
Did you know Rich at all? You said you knew Zach some. So did you have any crossover with Rich at any point? I mean, even in conferences or whatever?
Did not know Coach Rodriguez personally. I know some people who had worked with him and spoke very highly of him. The only crossover we may have had, I was the corners coach at App State in 2021, and he was offensive coordinator at Louisiana Monroe, but I did not know him personally. Like I said, a lot of people I know in the profession had worked with him across paths and had nothing but good things to say about him.
You knew Zach, and what was your interaction with Zach?
Same thing. So we first time we met was that 2021 game. Coach Alley was the defense coordinator at Louisiana Monroe, and we kind of bumped into each other at the coaches convention after the season and kind of, talked a little ball, some things they were doing on defense, had some similarities to some things we were doing at App. So we just kind of started a relationship there, and, occasionally would talk after the season. If we were playing like a common opponent, we may share some thoughts in terms of how we can attack them or how they may have attacked the same opponent in the past. So just built a relationship from there, and like I said, obviously he's a very sharp guy, smart, and one of the top defensive coordinators in the country. So try to pull some knowledge from him as well.
What makes a corner a quality corner, an elite corner? Like, what can you see and what are you looking for in that progression? Because it was a weakness a year ago, and Raj talked about needing that position to obviously be a lot better.
Well, full disclosure, I tried my hardest not to watch any of the film from last year just because I tell all the guys I want a clean slate. I didn't want to hold anything against the guys that were here in the past. They may have been taught something different that we don't teach. So I didn't want to go down that road. The big thing for me, what I try to stress to the guys outside of the physical, tangible things that can be seen on film, what I try to stress is, 3 C's. We got to be confident, first and foremost. Every time we're on the field, we got to think we're the best guy. We're going to win that matchup every time. Number 2 would be composure. Whether we make a big play or give up a big one, we got to have a short memory and play the next play as if it has a life of its own. And number 3 is just we got to have a high compete levels. So whatever we're doing, we got to strain, we got to outwork the competition, and always buy into competing everything we're doing. So confidence, composure, and the will to compete, those are things we try to stress in all our habits all the time. And obviously on the field, you have to be able to make plays, but that part will come. That's why I'm here, to kind of develop the on-the-field component. But more than anything, before we can address that, our habits off the field and how we just address our work day to day, I think is the area that must be stressed first.
What do you think of this group of corners so far? It's early.
I think we have a lot of potential. I think to play cornerback in this conference, the ball's going to be thrown around a lot. Playing Coach Alley's scheme, you're going to be putting some one-on-one matchups. So, like I said, we got to be confident and buy into that. I think the guys, so far, they bought into everything we're trying to teach them. They're trying hard. We make mistakes, but we tell them just make new mistakes. Every day is a learning curve. Just don't make the same mistakes from practice 1 and make it practice 2. So as long as we're making new mistakes and trying and doing everything full speed, then I think we're going to be just fine.
You mentioned coaching guys and seeing how they might have been coached to do something differently under previous coaches. Is there a lot of that? Are there things that maybe at some point you've got to unteach, or that you would look at and say, I would never teach, a guy to do something like that? Is there that much variation?
at the end of the day, I wouldn't say it's about unteaching. I think it's just open lines of communication. So, for example, there ain't been so many ways to play quarters coverage. You know, it may have been the old staff may say, have your eyes here. Then we just may communicate, I want your eyes to be here, and here's why. This is the advantages of it. These are the disadvantages. So it's not a matter of unteaching. I just think it's communication. And all these guys are good football players. To be a Division I college football athlete, you got to have some level of skill. So it's not a skill thing. We're just trying to fine-tune and have open lines of communication with certain technical things. And like I said, I think the guys have been doing a great job of buying in so far.
You brought one of the corners with you, or played for you at Appalachia State, Jason Chambers, right? So
I wouldn't say I brought him with me. He went in the portal and decided to come here.
okay, so you followed him, he followed you. Give us a little insight of him.
Jason, so he actually transferred to App State a year ago. He signed with North Carolina Central out of high school. I think he was a senior during the COVID year, so he kind of got overlooked. But he has some physical tools, and I think he's been doing a good job so far.
How many guys do you have in your room right now?
Total, we have 10.
Is that about what you want, or?
Yes, and obviously, you know, with the new NCAA rules of getting the roster down to 105, we're going to have some personnel conversations, and so that number could be fluid. But like I said, right now we have 10, and all 10, they're doing everything they can to be a part of that 105.
It's unlikely though you'd have 12 or 13 or have more.
It seems
than
like
carry.
cornerbacks have rules working against them all the time.
I agree, man. He's my favorite guy in here. All the time they have rules working against him, and you know you can't touch your guy downfield, you can't do this. But I think that's the challenge. You know, I tell my guys you have to be different to play cornerback. You wake up with a certain chip on your shoulder and a certain sense of accountability that some other position may not have. If anybody else on the defense make a mistake, it's going to be a first down. If we make mistakes, it can be a touchdown. So I think to wake up and understand that I'm going to be put in some one-on-one situations and I'm expected to win every one takes a certain caliber of individual. So I'm happy with the room so far. And hopefully, I hadn't obviously coached a game in this league. Hopefully, the refs are kind of lenient on some of those holding the PI calls down the field.
How different is this scheme compared to what you've worked in the past?
I think we are maybe a little bit more multiple and versatile. At the end of the day, you know, cover three is cover three. Man free is man free. Quarters is quarters. We may have a few more variations than some other people, but Coach Allen does a great job of breaking it down and putting everything in different groups and making it simple for the guys. So I think it's multiple. It looks like a lot more to the offense than we're actually presenting, and we do a great job of disguising pre-snap as well. But I think the guys have done a great job of kind of digesting everything we've been giving to them.
Rich has talked about, you know, pace and the tempo of practice. Now it's an adjustment for players. Has it been an adjustment for you at all?
Yeah, I love it. I think it makes you be locked in. You know, Coach Rodriguez says, treat the next play as if it's the most important thing in the world in that moment. I love that because it keeps you on your toes. And you know, everybody has different styles. Some people I may have worked with in the past, they were big on, hey, get the reps, we'll coach it on the film. But Coach Rodriguez believes address it once you see it. I like that. That way, a kid doesn't make the worst thing a player can do is make the same mistake 4 times in one practice. And as a coach, you didn't correct it the first time. So it's very hands-on. We coach every play, and we want every guy to understand the importance of every play because when you get in a game, most of the time a game is decided by a handful of plays. You don't know which plays they're going to be. So you can't pick and choose which plays you're going to be locked in, which plays you're going to go hard. So, again, we treat every play as if it's the most important thing going on in the world at that moment.
Are there any players individually that have stood out already that you can name?
I'd rather not. I don't know who all watching this. I'll say we have a lot of guys in the room, for my position specifically, who have done a lot of good things, and we have those same guys that make some bad plays and make some mistakes. So every day we have some pluses, some minuses, and we try to correct them to make sure we don't have the same ones the next day. And collectively as a group, I think they've done a great job of competing. And like I said, hopefully by the end of spring ball, we can kind of say, all right, these are our top 2, our top 4, but right now everybody's still competing for everything. Had to try it.
Is it almost an advantage in a way that so many of those guys are either new or young?
Yeah, I like it because I enjoy the challenge of, first off, establishing a relationship, establishing that trust, the open lines of communication, and then being able to develop a guy and push him. Because, for a guy to really be pushed, he has to trust you that you have his best interest at heart as a player, but also as a person. So we're still in the early stages of our relationship in terms of coach and player. But I tip my hat to those guys. I think they've done everything I asked them to do, or at least they tried their hardest. And again, if it's something technical, it's my job to correct it. But from an effort standpoint, I think we've been getting better every day, and I think the guys are really trying to lock in and do it the way we want it to be done.
Coach did mention that something maybe collectively as a staff that could work on is pinpointing when a player is quote unquote soft or being lazy quicker so that he doesn't have to yell as much. How do you feel about knowing what his thought of soft or lazy? Like, do you know what coach is talking about when he says that? Can you pick it apart and pinpoint it quicker? What are your thoughts on that assessment of the staff?
The thing I love most about Coach is he's a very direct person. Like, you rarely have to guess what he's feeling or thinking. So he would tell you, like, this is an example of soft. If we're taking on a block, this is how it should look. If it's punt protection, this is how it should look. So you don't have to guess. He'll tell you. And so for me as a coach, we see it. We all know it. We know football. You can tell. Like, if we all went to practice right now and I said, point out the soft play, you'll be able to see it. Like, there should be a certain level of violence associated with football. And when that level of violence is lacking, then it's our job to address it. So we all know what it looks like. You don't have to have a video of this is soft. And the guys know. They know. And it's our job, if it's anybody early on that don't get it, we tag those plays in practice and we show it to them.
Adjusting to Morgantown, similar to Boone?
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I would imagine, I don't want to be accurate. I don't want to be inaccurate, so don't quote me on this, but I think we're the only 2 Mountaineers in the country, App State and West Virginia.
But they don't play football.
There you go. So for me and my family, they're both mountain towns. I think both communities are blue-collar, hard-working, tough, gritty, and passionate about football. The climate's pretty similar. So for us, I think the transition town-wise has been pretty seamless. My family loves it here, and we're looking forward to the challenge of developing the guys, but we're also looking forward to Falls and Morgantown, and I'm sure everyone from all ends of the state come out to support the Mountaineers on Saturday. So we're excited and looking forward to the challenge.
Recruiting areas, Rod, are you going to handle kind of the same stuff you did in the past, or different areas, or?
Yeah, great question. So Coach Rodriguez wants us to always focus on areas where we have strong ties. So I'm from Alabama. I don't know if y'all can tell by my accent or not, but very strong ties in North Carolina recruiting, South Carolina, the Atlanta area. I've been in Florida some, so I would probably spend most of my time there. But we also understand, geographically, we got to get into Pennsylvania, into Jersey, into certain parts of Ohio and D.C. So I think for me, if there are DBs in those areas, I'm still going to go out there and see them. But also I'll still kind of spend some time in the South as well.
Your son's name is Major, right?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of an important name here.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Any story there, any link or anything, or just coincidence?
So I've heard of Major Harris. Then when I was growing up too, Major Applewhite was the quarterback at Texas. So I thought it was a cool name. And funny story, so my wife's name is Marcy. My daughter, who's older, her name is Maya. So I told my wife, since she went through, the pain of delivery, she can get the M's. So, and I'm an English major, so we like the alliteration of that as well. So we came down to Miles or Major, and my son was so stubborn and labor was so long that we said he's probably gonna be more suited for a major. And he probably should be playing football. He's a baseball player, but he is stubborn as they come. He's a tough kid. He's gonna react, then think later. So I think Major suits him well, a lot more than Miles would have.
Baseball on the side?
Do I coach baseball?
Yeah.
No. I don't think I'll be good with coaching my kids. I think I kind of got a soft spot for them. So I'll do some training on the side. But and my kids, if I yell at them, they kind of like, Dad, what are you doing? So I let other people yell at them. But I'll see some things on the side. Like I might take some videos of him, batting at the plate, and we'll kind of talk about it afterwards. But no, I think I'm better with coaching other people's kids than my own.
Speaking of your players, the quarterbacks coach, does every corner coach want to coach man, and just sometimes because the players they coach zone or scheme whatever, like is that how that works for your position?
Maybe, I don't know. I think in today's football where you have to cover, the entire field, horizontally and vertically, I think you're gonna have the offense is gonna force you to play different types of man coverage. So you got to be comfortable with it. You won't survive with the wide spacing of the receivers, and if you can't survive man to man. So I think that's a good base point to start with teaching, and then you build into different zone concepts off of that. But yes, I think any cornerback coach in today's game, you better be pretty comfortable with playing and teaching some forms of man coverage.
All this like mentality stuff that you talked about that everybody talks about, I would imagine it's no different if you're in zone. You're going to have a lot of one-on-one stuff eventually. The ball's in the air. You got to tackle somebody. Like, who cares if it starts in zone or man? It's still got to cover somebody, tackle somebody.
General rule of thumb: most coverages at some point, if you get certain routes, they're going to turn to man to man. If you're in quarters and you get 4 verts, the 4 DB is going to cover the 4 verticals. So certain coverages, say if you drop an 8, some kind of 3 deep, you can pass off certain things. But I would say that's a pretty safe assumption that most coverages at a certain point with certain routes is going to definitely be some man-to-man principles in there.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Kevin?
How do you get to know your players off the field? What's important for you in that area?
Well, we have meetings where we don't talk about any football, just getting to know them. Some of my guys may have children. Getting to understand their family dynamics, where they're from, and also how you can coach them, I think the good thing about being a parent, I think it helped me become a better coach because my 2 kids learn completely different, and I had to discipline them completely different. So it's the same thing when you're coaching a group of young men. Like, I had to coach every kid in that room to be the best version of themselves, and 10 different guys are going to have 10 different personalities. I got to figure out what gets them to go. Some kids, if you yell them, they shut down. It is what it is. So that might be a face-to-face. I got to explain to him every detail of why to get them to play the best. Some kids, they need that little extra motivation to push. So for me, the only way I can tell that outside of doing it on the field is me with them. If it's a one-on-one environment where we don't talk about any football, if it's taking a group out for wings, or if it's just sitting down and having lunch with them at the training table. So, but getting to know them and getting them comfortable with being themselves outside of the field will lead to success on the field.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.